By the time I ran outside, my contractor's truck was already hooked to the tow. And Brenda Sterling was standing there smiling like she'd just won the lottery. It was a hot morning, and my front yard looked like a small job site. My contractor, Luis, was fixing our porch and some water damage before my husband, a Marine, came home from deployment. We had tools, boards, and his big white work truck parked right in front of my house, like normal people do when they're, working. Brenda, our HOA president, marched over with her little clipboard and fake pearl necklace, pointing at the truck like it was a crime scene. "Commercial vehicles are not allowed overnight," she snapped. "It's 9 a.m., I said. "He's here for a few hours," she smirked. "Then you should have gotten permission." Rules are rules. Next thing I know, she's on the phone with the towing company. Luis begged her. "Ma'am, I'll move it around the corner," he said. "Please, my tools are inside." "Too late," she said, without even looking at him. Should have read the bylaws. The tow truck driver shrugged at me like, "Sorry," and started lifting. Luis looked like he was about to cry. All his saws and gear were locked inside. "How much is the fee?" I asked the driver. He told me the number, and my heart dropped. It was more than Luis was going to make that day. I tried to talk to Brenda again. "We can work something out. He's just doing repairs before my husband comes back from deployment." She rolled her eyes. Everyone has a sob story. Pay the fine, or don't hire trashy contractors. That was it. I went to the next HOA board meeting, thinking surely the other neighbors would agree that towing a contractor in the middle of the morning was insane. I brought photos, receipts, even texts showing the schedule. The board members wouldn't even look me in the eye. "I'm sure Brenda followed the rules," one of them said. "If we make an exception for you, we have to do it for everyone." Another whispered that a couple of neighbors came, too. They kept their heads down, whispering that they didn't want to make waves, because Brenda had fined them before. One neighbor actually said, "Just pay it and move on. It's easier." I walked out of that meeting shaking with anger. It wasn't just the money. It was the way she talked to Luis like he was dirt. The way she rolled her eyes when I mentioned my husband being deployed. The way the board hid behind the rules instead of common sense. On the drive home, I called my husband. He was overseas, tired, and still somehow calmer than me. I told him everything. "She towed his truck, babe, while he was working." She laughed about it. There was a long pause. Then he said, in that low Marine voice, "Call JAG." Now, if you don't know, JAG is the military legal office. They handle all kinds of stuff for service members. I wasn't even sure this counted, but my husband insisted. "Tell them she's harassing you while I'm deployed," he said. "Let them decide." So the next day, I called JAG, expecting them to say sorry. Nothing we can do. Instead, the captain on the phone listened quietly as I explained the whole story. About the towing, the humiliation, and the way she brushed off my husband's deployment. He asked me to email everything. Photos, the HOA bylaws, the tow bill, the meeting notes I had scribbled. So I did. A week went by. Brenda kept sending me little reminders about trash cans and yard appearance. It felt personal now. She even snapped a picture of a bag of mulch leaning against my garage and emailed it with the subject line, "Violation, debris." Then one afternoon, it all exploded. I stepped outside because I heard raised voices and saw a black SUV parked in front of Brenda's house. Two men in uniform and a woman in business clothes were talking to Brenda on her front porch. You could see the confusion on her face, turning to fear. Curious neighbors peeked through blinds. Someone across the street walked out to check the mail and stayed. Then another neighbor came with their phone out, pretending to text but clearly recording. I stayed on my porch, pretending to sweep. Brenda's voice got louder. "I don't understand why the United States Marine Corps is involved in an HOA matter." One of the men, the JAG officer, spoke calmly. "Ma'am, we're here because your actions have created a hostile environment for the spouse of a deployed Marine. We take that very seriously. My jaw almost hit the ground. They actually came. They had a folder in their hands. My emails, the tow bill, screenshots of her messages. They went point by point. You had a contractor's truck towed during daytime working hours, despite no clear rule banning temporary contractor parking. You singled out this homeowner repeatedly after her husband deployed. You ignored her attempts to resolve the matter. At a board meeting where you controlled the agenda, neighbors were fully outside by now. Some were filming openly. Someone whispered, "Is that the military?" Another neighbor whispered back, "Dude, I told you she was crazy." Brenda's face went blotchy red. She tried to fight back. "I'm just enforcing the rules. She doesn't like it, she can move." The JAG officer didn't even flinch. We've also spoken with a city code inspector and the towing company. The tow appears to have violated both your own HOA guidelines and local regulations on predatory towing. The inspector will be in touch. Right on cue, a city truck pulled up behind them. I almost laughed out loud. The inspector got out, clipboard in hand, and walked the street while chatting quietly with them. They pointed at HOA signs at the front of the neighborhood, even at Brenda's own yard. Turns out, Brenda's perfect yard had 3 code violations of its own: an unapproved shed, lighting that didn't meet code, and a fence that was too high. The inspector wrote it all down while my neighbors watched. Then came the best part. One of the JAG officers told Brenda, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Our recommendation is that the HOA immediately refund all towing and related fees to this homeowner and her contractor. We will also be sending a formal letter to your board about harassment and discrimination against a military family." Brenda looked like she might faint. Her voice shook. "A full refund and a written apology," he added. "We'll expect copies." Luis, my contractor, happened to pull up just then in a different truck. He saw the group, saw Brenda, saw the crowd. "What did I miss?" he asked me quietly. I grinned. Justice. Word spread through the neighborhood in hours. Someone posted about it on the community Facebook group. HOA president gets checked by the Marines and city inspector. The comments were brutal. People started sharing all the petty fines she'd given them over the years. Old grudges surfaced like sharks. Within a month, there was a recall vote. This time, people weren't scared. They were angry. I didn't lead it. I didn't have to. My neighbors did it themselves. They showed the letter from JAG, the inspector's report, and the towing refund notice. Brenda was voted out of the HOA board in a packed meeting. Nobody clapped at first until someone from the back yelled, "Semper Fi." And then the whole room burst into cheers and laughter. We got our money back. Luis got his towing fee and extra pay for the lost day. The new HOA board changed the rules so contractors could park during work hours without drama. They even sent a community-wide email saying they support military families and will work with compassion from now on. Brenda, she still lives here, but she walks fast. Head down, no more clipboards. The same neighbors who used to fear her now walk right past her and smile at me instead. Her little kingdom vanished in one afternoon, all because she decided to tow the wrong truck and mess with the wrong Marine spouse. I water my plants on the porch my contractor finished. Watch kids ride bikes by and enjoy the quiet. No more random violation photos. No snide emails. Just peace. And the memory of Brenda getting read like a traffic ticket on her own front porch. Subscribe to Karen Conflict for more HOA showdowns like this.